Good evening. Welcome to this week's podcast. It's episode 40. Episode 40.
Ruby.
Wow. We are nearly at a year, actually, in terms of time. We're nearly at a year. When did we? Was it mid-March?
It was May when it started to get the popularity up, wasn't it, Molly? May time.
No.
It was about May, yeah.
About that time. So not quite a year.
Yeah.
But I understand.
Yeah, we're getting there. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Well, 38.
Life begins now then.
38 for you? Yeah. Well,
My
let's hope
age,
so.
Molly's IQ.
Yeah.
Very true.
My weight in stone.
5.7 more and you've got yourself a Nikon.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about that, Manny, you're on about getting a new camera.
Oh, I am.
Do you want to share?
Well, I'm selling all my filters.
Are you?
There's
Wow.
one.
That was quick.
There's one.
You've got to give that to me.
What filters? What filters are you selling?
What filters?
No, come on. Might as well.
Medium, a soft, a medium, a hard, a reverse, graduated, all 3-stop, a 10-stop ND, 6-stop ND, a V6 Nissi system, and a landscape CPL polarizer, screwy, 2 bags, and 4 step up and step down rings.
So, if you want to get your comments in, the best one this week, we'll get that as a giveaway.
That's very good of you, Mally. Very good of you indeed.
I always know you've been kind-hearted.
Where I lead, you follow.
Oh dear. Yeah, so what camera?
Fuji X Pro 1 with a 14 to something.
What's this for? Is this for vlogging or your main camera?
I think I've got a problem. I'm starting to think about buying old cameras. I'm going to a place tomorrow in Orrell. Probably telling people how close. Don't work out where I live, please. Please don't stop me. I'm going to a place in Orrell to pick up a Instamatic Kodak for a £5.
Ooh. So this Fuji camera, because I'm not familiar with Fuji or the model number. So what is it? Is that a brand new camera? And it's
old, very old.
It's an old camera.
It's an old one, and it's just for experiment. It's something I can stick me. I've got.
It's not film, is it?
No. I should have prepared for this.
Red dot, yeah. I mean, it's stolen.
Look at this. Look at that. Look at that picture.
It's got a red dot on it. Oh, right.
What is it?
It's a Pentax. It's an old Yashica, and it's a 50mm Pentax lens, and it'll fit onto the Fuji nicely, and it'll be fully manual. And it's just I've had it for yonks, and I want to play around with it. So, yeah.
What, landscape or street?
The Fuji is for. I'm thinking more street, but mainly just abstract, walkabout. Have it with me all the time. You know,
your shop project that you mentioned last week.
I tried it with
Neon
the
lights.
G7X, but I'm sorry, James, it doesn't cut the mince.
Well, I got rid of it for a reason, Molly.
Great time lapse, little time. Yeah, I know, but it's not. Yeah, so the X Pro 1. So without, I'm conscious. I'm over talking here.
We'll allow you.
Photography Daily by Neil James. I've been listening to his podcast. Very, very good. Very good. He does a daily walk, and he keeps mentioning the X Pro 1 for reasons behind having old lenses. And I was like, I've got this, lad. And it'll work. I'm going to give it a go. So, but it's just, I just think I might not stop there now. I'm looking at maybe getting some other stuff, some other digital, older cameras.
Nostalgic move, I know you mean.
Just for play with and see what photos they make. Yeah.
Well, as you're a vlogger like the rest of us, if you haven't got a load of old cameras stuck on the wall behind you when you're doing it,
you're nothing.
Are you even a vlogger? You know,
No.
Are your words valid?
No. One camera on a tripod is enough.
Classy. Very classy.
I did look at the Fuji X Pro one when you mentioned it. It's a nice looking camera.
Yeah.
It's very, classical sort of rangefinder look about it. Really, yeah. It's lovely looking camera.
250 quid.
Yeah.
Second hand.
Yeah. And it's mirrorless. I just think it'd be interesting, that.
Crop sensor, of course, yeah.
It's a good crops. It's only DX though, so it's not too bad. It's not like your G7X.
What are you trying to say?
Nothing. I didn't. I avoided saying micro.
See that picture behind me? Micro Four Thirds. Thank you very much.
But that's the point, isn't it? It's Test is playing around with different systems. I quite like the idea of it.
Oh yeah, isn't it? It's got a Leica look, hasn't it? The range.
It's got a Leica look
Leica
about
as well.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Well, I've still got the my little G7X, and I've been using it for the last couple of weeks on my daily walk. I've been sticking it on the monopod and using the monopod as a bit of a hiking pole, walking around the fens and shooting a little bit of B-roll, holding it still. And whenever we go away, when I'm with Helen, she likes using that camera, but the shutter on it now, or the curtain on the front, is starting to stick. And I often thought, you know what, if that ever goes wrong, I think I would buy another one.
Yeah.
I think
It's good. It's good stabilisation, actually. I use it a
think
lot.
they're
for my
magic
video.
little cameras. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot better out there now, but Helen just really enjoys using it. And I
What James did and rip all the blades out.
You know why though? So I was filming some footage, and the plan was to drive over the top of the camera, but I didn't judge the bottom front bumper, and I sticked. So basically ran over it. But all the damage, the only damage it had was the shutter. You know yourself, it's not. It's when you close it down, it shuts it. It's just the blades which are missing. That's all. Still
Shutter
working.
blades.
It's a Canon. Yeah.
Still works. Yeah.
So how's
Still
it?
got a bargain.
So it doesn't protect the lens anymore because it's got no blades on the front.
That's right.
Right.
Doesn't matter though, because that glass is solid. It's really thick.
Yeah.
The lens on
Glass
the
as well,
front.
good glass. Yeah.
I've dropped it a couple of times myself, and I just throw it in my bag now and take
And
it with me.
And it's got a microphone port, hasn't it, on the 2?
No.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, is that the 3?
The Mark 3 does.
3,
This is the Mark
right.
2. Yeah.
Oh,
Bought it for that reason
Piece
and
of
didn't
shit.
research, and then
Mally.
by the time I got it at car, James was doing 60 and
Saw you coming.
What did you say, James? Has he got a microphone? James? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, love you. Bye. Bye. Thanks for your cash.
Ta-ra, knobhead.
Yeah. Not bad. Fell for that one.
Oh dear. So have anyone else been up to anything exciting this week? You've been doing a bit of filming, haven't you, Darren?
had a little bit in the garden, I started to put a video together, and as I was saying to you before we started recording, I made a video that I was quite pleased with, but then I couldn't get the B-roll for that on the day because it's like wildlife photography, so I've decided to kind of do it another way now. So I'm just going to concentrate on the next few days of getting the B-roll, and then I'm going to redo the video, same subject but just around the footage that I've already got. It's a lot easier doing it that way, a lot easier.
And I heard a rumour from Dave that he's going to do a bit of a bird photography vlog. Is that right, Dave?
Well, I must admit I can't help myself. I've been thinking about it because I've enjoyed yours and Darren's so much that I just thought, well, because of where I live, we do get some quite interesting birds in the garden. So particularly your latest one, Gary, where you're sort of explaining how the logs are, put against a certain backdrop and that sort of thing, because I wouldn't have thought of that at all. So I might have a go, and it's going to be like Norman Wisdom does bird photography, but I might well just share it for the hell of it.
That's going to be the best bit.
I think you should, Dave.
Plus the fact I've just signed a contract to do Skillshare sponsorship So I actually now have to produce at least one video a month. Otherwise, they kick me out. So maybe that would be my first one.
Nice.
Oh, do that. Oh, that'd be great. Oh, well done on the Skillshare.
Yeah, well
Yeah.
done.
I know.
mate.
It's like I'm playing with the big boys. You get all these like requests to do stuff, and you think, oh no, come on, be serious. I'm not doing that. It's rubbish. But when they came knocking, you kind of think, actually, because I use Skillshare anyway. You know, it's not like I'm sort of touting something I don't use. I've had a membership for ages.
Haven't you got a website by?
No, no, I haven't.
Soon we'll have.
Maybe. Who knows? Let's wait and see.
Can I
Just
give you
chucking it out there.
just a
You're
bit
going to
of
have to cut
advice?
all this out, by the way. You can't use any of this
Oh,
because
Can I
people
not?
will think I'm being a tosser.
No.
We daft.
I think that's.
Funnily enough, I had an email from Squarespace the other day.
What,
No
saying
word
your
of a lie,
payment's
you're-
overdue?
Yeah, exactly. I think we're going to cut you
Boom,
off.
boom.
But
No, I have to say, I know it's pretty pathetic, but I sort of took it as a compliment that just a little
awesome.
pissant channel like mine has attracted their attention. So, you know, what the heck?
You should take it as a compliment.
Oh, well
mate.
done,
Huge
mate.
compliment.
yeah, well done indeed. Well deserved.
I was just going to suggest do
Cheers.
your first video on a topic which you know something about.
Yeah.
Are you not bird photography? That's all.
How to design a website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This video is sponsored by Skillshare. I'm going to talk to you about how I know sod all about birds.
But I'm going to point you to a video that does. It's Gary and Darren.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about the birds you get in your garden. Alan Coles messaged me after my video came out, and he sent me a video of this is my garden currently, and he's got like siskins in it and bullfinches, and I'm like, you total bastard!
Wow.
Honestly, I'm sitting there, I'm like taking a shot of like a sparrow.
Black caps though.
Yeah, but it's all bird top trumps, isn't it, with you lot? With you birding types, you
I think you've had
twitchers.
some quite unusual, but like I'd never seen black caps like that before.
The black cap was an unusual one, yeah, but I'd kill for a bullfinch.
What
Or
about
kill-
lesser spotted woodpecker juvenile with red flashes?
Yeah, that'd be good as well. I've had peanuts. I was going to say, I've had my peanuts out there for weeks. When I changed it to I've had peanuts out there for weeks.
This week I've had penis.
Oh, I'll tell you what. Today, my webcam. I changed my webcam over in the bird box, and I sent the old one back, and I realised I'd left the little SD card in, the micro SD card in there. So I rung them up today, and I just said, "Oh look, I'm really sorry. I've sent you this webcam back, but I forgot to take out my STD. Could you send it back to me?" And there was silence, and then it went, "Your SD card?" I said, yeah, my SD card. And then I twigged on what I said. Can you send me an STD on my STD?
And then Veronica came round.
So the question then, Darren, from that is, was the old unit faulty?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Ah, right. So hopefully you'll get some good footage now then.
But what I'm really disappointed with is they was using a third party app, which I thought was quite poor, to be honest. I've got like an Arlo security system around the house, and their app is so easy to use. You know, especially because we've got some lowdown as well. We, get videos of the foxes and whatnot, and you just look at it in the morning. You just look at your library, and then you just kind of click record to phone, and it just saves every video. Wow. And the third party app it's really difficult to use, really difficult to navigate. Anyway, I got an email last night from the company saying our app is now live on for the iOS device. So I thought, oh, excellent! They've got their own dedicated app. It's exactly the same app as their third party app, apart from it's their logo on the top.
Branded.
It's exactly the same. I was gutted. Never mind.
I'll write one for you, mate. Don't you
Right,
worry
yeah,
about it.
you sort me out, Dave. But yeah, it's all working good now. So I'll get some good filming over the next few weeks.
Are you going to put that branch in at the top of the box or not?
I've done it. Yeah.
You've done it?
Yeah.
And he's back again, is he?
Yeah, he's
After
back,
that?
but he's not using.
I am worried
perch,
about you
no.
messing around with that box too
Yeah,
much. You're gonna,
I know.
you know,
That's
frighten
it.
off.
Now I haven't got to mess around with it anymore. For those of you that don't know, the bird's kind of coming in. And so he was perching on the bottom of the bird box, or sitting on the bottom of the bird box, so the camera's looking down. But now he flies up somehow and sits on the cable, so all I can see is his tail. So what I thought I'd do, I'd drill his tail.
Tail. His tail.
Tail.
Towel.
I thought he was
like a
showing
tourist.
him there. He was showing her back. Sponge himself down in a towel.
First blue
No.
tech gets the best sunbeds.
Tail.
Yeah.
Tail.
That is mine. Go on, sorry.
No, so I just drilled a small hole at the bottom of the bird box and put a twig through, thinking I will perch on that and I can film him, but he didn't bother. He ignored my little twig and went straight back up to his cable. That's all right. It's only 150 quid.
Yeah. That's an expensive twig.
Exactly.
Not as expensive as your log, though.
That's true, actually. That's very true. When you were saying about asking for your SD card back, when my phone got run over, it no longer connected to the internet or to the network, and you can't erase your phone if it won't connect, because it needs to be like, you need to get a code sent to your phone to then say, yeah, I'm authorising this to be deleted. So my phone literally went off with everything on it, all my photos. I deleted a load of my apps, like my banking app and everything. But yeah, well, no, that, funnily enough, they were still on it. No, but it was a bit like, I did sort of say, when they said, you know, the phone's beyond economic repair, I said, so what happens to it now?
Yeah.
Because there's quite a lot of my data on there. So I'd imagine they could probably pull off a lot of historical data and all of my like audit trail, and they said no, we've got a protocol that we have to wipe them with special software and all of that. So yeah. But basically, if you see me on any, if you see me on any dodgy websites, that's what it is.
Warehouse, was it?
Yeah, no. But what can I do? I couldn't do anything.
And then you
about
find
it.
out stuff from your cards are going to get shipped to Lagos or something.
Yeah, good thing is I have absolutely no money
No,
whatsoever,
really.
so I'm safe.
Well, look, his fire's nearly gone out.
Hey up. Ta-ra, Darren.
Tartan
Come
pants.
back when you're
Watch
ready.
this, ladies and gentlemen. The tartan pants. And the stalking of the fire. He's getting his log out. Here you go. He's got his biggest log there.
Oh, don't burn your
Though the
hand.
tattoo.
Don't burn it.
Oh.
Go on, give it a good pull.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The thing is, you can get away with tartan pyjama bottoms. It's when you do the top and have it all buttoned up with a little collar thing going on. That's when it kind of loses cool.
Oh, it's
We've
gone
just sat here
out.
watched him now, haven't we?
It's totally gone out, hasn't it? Yeah,
It's gone out.
It needs some of that dry willow stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah, some of that moss.
Moss as well.
Moss,
That- the-
Richmond moss.
There's a wood down Devon way that has some, I understand.
Yes.
I've heard tartan pants burn really well, though.
Yeah. Oh no, look, it's back. You can see it's back. It looks good
Oh,
now.
is it light again?
Oh, it's coming in. Look
Well
at
done,
that.
well done,
Yeah.
Darren.
Well done.
We were worried
Good
there, mate. We thought it'd gone out for good.
That was a masterclass.
No, do you know what though? I've closed the vents, so it's lovely and hot. It's not. I think when it always looks nice, doesn't it, when a fire's kind of burning? But all it does, all the heat just pretty much goes up the chimney.
Up the flue.
But that's lovely now. Are we all ready for this beast from the east that's due on Sunday?
Absolutely.
Is it Sunday? It's down south, isn't it? I don't think we're going to have it. Are we, Mally?
No,
East,
we're getting
south, some of
Yeah,
the
no,
northern.
it's about time they got something, I suppose.
maybe Sunday. We might get a flurry.
You'll get the wind chill. You might not get the snow.
Well, I think on the coast, on the Norfolk and Suffolk coast, they've got an amber weather warning, and we're just below that, and we've got a yellow. So I'm going into the college on Sunday, try and get some snowy photos, hopefully.
Nice,
Good.
nice.
Good.
Should we move on to a topic? Shall we? So this is a.
Have we got one?
Yes, we do. This is a very interesting one brought up by Dave very recently, and it's about stealing of content, Dave. Do you want to elaborate on that? Let us know what's happened or what you found. And it doesn't just affect you, actually, does it?
No, it turns out that other people have also been pirated. I mean, my question on the group was literally theft. Is it okay? Well, of course, we know what the answer to that is.
Yeah, it's fine.
Depends who it is.
No, it was just that I came across a bunch of my videos on somebody else's website, and there was 4 pages of them, and there was about 7 or 8 videos per page, and it included the actual video was embedded, and the text that I'd written to accompany the video was also appearing on the page. And it was a photographer. I'm not going to say who, but he's rubbish. He's not a good photographer. So he's not. But
it's not me. It's not me. Just to point that out.
Don't own up to it.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I just wondered if anybody else had experienced that sort of thing. And you know, do you take it as a compliment? Do you kind of think, well, he's taking the piss because he's not? I mean, it's not a case of not attributing because it's my video, so it's obviously me. But it was just a weird thing to come across on this No Marks website.
And then states about don't stealing. Like,
Oh yes.
so obscure.
How did you find it again? Sorry, dear. How did you come across it?
I was doing a bit of SEO research on my own site to see how it's doing. So I'm using a browser that I'm not logged in on. And so I'm just Googling things like North Wales landscape photography, just because obviously, you know, I want to see whether I'm on page 1 or not. If I Google Aberfrau, I'm top of page 1, but I'm the only one here. So yeah, that's how I came across it. I was halfway down page 2, his website was.
So me and James are on it as well, but there's 108 pages, so we probably all are on it if we can bother to go through it. The only comment I was going to make is that when you do a YouTube video, you encourage people to share it, don't you? You know, share, like, subscribe, and the rest of it. So I guess in that respect,
That's exactly what he's doing.
He's sharing your video. So should we criticise him for sharing your video?
I think the thing is, as long as he don't take a claim for it himself, that's the key message.
Yeah, he was, and he's hot linking. He's taking the claim for himself, and he's hot linking. So if you're publishing a blog and it's published under a date, a timestamp, and your name as the admin or the guy who's writing the blog. So imagine like a news article being written, but then the rest of the article below is someone else's work. I think that's...
Oh, really? I didn't click through to any, so I just looked at the main page. Oh, he's doing that, is he?
Loads and loads of vloggers on his blog. Which semantics tell you that. So I'm going to write a post today, and then I open my blog up my website and I go create new post, give it a title. What he's doing is he's also stripping the titles from the videos and posting them as the title, and then sharing that like he's published it. Now he could say in the title inspiration, or he could put I love this content, this is from, or he could put something in there that relates to the original content creator as a bat. So then you're getting backlinks, which is good, because then if someone watches it, you're getting the watch from his website. But the problem with that is they're not touching YouTube then, and I'm not sure how that works. Anyone else know?
No.
So if you're sharing a video on your website and it's linking to YouTube, does it still connect as a backlink?
Yeah,
I think so.
It shows as a watch. You get the watch time for it.
Yeah. It's naughty.
What's the benefit for him, though? Is it just that...
Well, he's mistaken in thinking that he's upping his SEO game.
Right.
It's quite a common ploy.
Old school, isn't it?
Yes, it's trying to game the system. And what they used to say is if you curate stuff, that can be helpful. And that's, to some extent, true. If I found a video that I thought was worth sharing on my blog, and I wrote 4 or 5 paragraphs explaining why I found it useful, and here's the video, that's perfectly acceptable. That's called curation. But what people used to do was to scrape en masse content from third-party sources. And the curation aspect was very thin. It was, here's a video. That was it. But this guy is taking it to the next level of, as you say, adding nothing. But he's actually harming his SEO because Google will see it as duplicate content. So they'll be penalising him, not helping him at all. So I think, apart from him being a crap photographer, he's a bit of an arse when it comes to websites.
Yeah.
And what's he called again, sir? What's his name?
I'm not saying. You'll have to do your research.
Frank Sidebottom.
Do you think he's doing it on purpose? Yeah, you do.
Yeah, there's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. I mean, he's set all these posts up, 108 pages of them, with 6 or 7 per page. Yeah. That's a lot of work. He's desperate to get noticed, but he's getting noticed for the wrong reasons, sadly.
So there's no adverts on his page, then, so it's not.
No, I think it's just it's to promote his photography. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
right. It's interesting because I'm seeing it more and more with photographers' images, and they're getting them from Facebook. So what I've discovered, and I have to keep my eye out on Let's Create, people are joining groups and farming images. And a naughty local newspaper, you know who you are. You were doing it as well, and hiding the attributes, so hiding the name of the photographer in another drop down. So when you saw the image, you just thought it was part of a news article taken by the paper, and it wasn't. It was taken by all the people who were in that local vicinity. So Carmel Dam close to me got drained, and all the water was down. And loads of people took pictures, including myself. And by accident, I just clicked on this link saying about Carmel Dam being drained, thinking, I'll read that. I see what's going on. And when I clicked it, 2 of my images were being used in the headline and on the article. I was like, what? And this is an established paper, local paper. They just told me there's nothing you can do. We've attributed a link to you. And I said, where is it? You click this arrow and it opens, it drops down, your name's there. Oh, right.
It's true. On the technicality, it's true. I mean, that they will just point to the HTML that's got your attribution. The fact that it's not visible would not be relevant in a court of law, unfortunately.
I know, yeah.
I had a run-in with Reader's Digest, as you know, that they rolled over pretty sharpish because I threatened them with all sorts.
Not quite as heavy. We had a woman on our Facebook page for my local village. she used to steal photos off of the internet. So like she'd go out with her iPad in her garden and she'd take like 4 or 5 really dodgy pictures of the birds or the flowers or something or other. And then one, you'd have this like fantastic shot of a robin in full flight, and you'd be like, hang on a minute. And she took some of Barton Hills, and they were in China. It was a rainforest in China. And I typed out to him, I was like, I don't know that part of Barton Hill, because I did a Google image search on it. And it was like, there was one in China, there was one that was a picture of a rainforest or a forest in Germany. But the best one she did, she went out in autumn and took a few pictures on her iPad of some leaves on the floor. And then this one, which was some falling leaves, and it was actually a still from a computer-generated video of falling leaves. Whoa. And I did a Google search, and the search was the still from the video trying to sell this animated video. And I was like, she's a bit, not aware. I didn't really want to call her out on it, like full out. So I'd say, that's a really nice shot. What camera did you take that on? And she'd go, I just took it on my iPad. And I was like, wow, you've got a lovely bit of bokeh for an iPad there. Fantastic stuff. And then another one had come out, and I said, whereabouts in Barton Hills is that? Because it looks a little bit exotic. And she'd be like, oh, it's just round the back by the springs. You'd be like, no, it's not. And in the end, she kept doing it. She was stealing them off of like RSPB and like all these sites. And it was like literally the first you search Robin, and it was the first one on the images. It was like that, and she was posting it as her own. And in the end, I said, look, I was like, this is really, not on. This is lovely that you want to share photos, but this is someone else's work you're taking credit for, and it's really not nice. And then she blocked me, and now I just can't see anything she posts. So for all I know, she could be posting pictures of the Golden Gate Bridge and calling it, the bridge over Barton Springs. I have no idea.
Does that mean my pictures of the Himalayas that I've said was the Ogwin Valley are wrong?
Yeah, it's strange what's happening with people's. It's a commodity. It's free now, isn't it? You can just take it. It's not yours. Just take it. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, it is weird like that, though, isn't it? It's like when you enter a competition and you think that you're entering for yourself, but actually you're entering for the benefit of the people running the competition, because they say, you're entering this under the proviso that you understand that we can use your images on whatever we like. So like the Wildlife Trust one that where my picture, I'd imagine my pictures are all over mugs and all sorts of stuff, and I didn't get a beating out of that. I didn't get any prize money. I didn't win in anything. I got in the Canada, but
it reminds me of rock and roll, though. Landscape photography is the rock and roll of this day and age, because the Doors signed a contract to say use my music, and they used the music for adverts. Come and Light My Fire was used for adverts and advertising. So it's quite interesting how all them years ago rock music was seen as like this thing that could be taken and used, and now it's photography. It's like rock and roll, baby.
Landscape photography is rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
That's how boring 2020 is.
Landscape photographers, all anarchists.
So boring, you haven't realised we've moved into 2021.
Oh yeah.
So last year.
Yeah, isn't it?
So what do we think about coming out of lockdown and travel restrictions being lifted? When do we think that's going to happen realistically?
March.
In the May.
Well, I read today that they're saying that all over 50s should be vaccinated by May.
Yep.
Which would indicate to me that give it 3 weeks on from that. So I don't know when in May, but 3 weeks on from that point, when everyone is vaccinated and the vaccine's taken effect, I would imagine then that's when we might start seeing things lifted a little bit.
You've got to think about second as well, the second dosage as well.
Yeah.
I read somewhere around July time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, reading about the efficacy of the Oxford jab and the fact that it's, I think, 76% effective on the first jab and stays effective for those 12 weeks, and then you go up not a lot to about 82, 80%, but 76% is pretty bloody effective. And they're saying that no one's getting serious disease or being hospitalised with it. I can't. And it's actually effective against the new variant as well. It's all pretty positive news, really.
So are you saying that? Sorry, go on, Jay. Go on.
No, I was going to say, didn't somebody from Sage say to expect to be back to normality in the summer, or whatever normal summer of some description? I think somebody from Sage has actually said that. So, summer, July, as you said, July, August is probably likely to be relatively normal.
Are we saying then that where we are currently at the moment, this is not going to be lifted until July?
As an infection rate,
I think they'll start to lift it around March time. In lower, reduce.
If you look at the infection rates, they're dropping off a cliff.
Massively.
So you have,
but the admissions and the deaths are still there.
Well, they always lag
slightly.
They lag behind, and then I know that they were saying as well that because the vaccine's being rolled out in the way it is, you're still going to see people in hospital, the 50s and the 60-year-olds and the 40-year-olds, etc., in hospital because they haven't been vaccinated yet. But the deaths will drop because there's less deaths in those groups.
Yeah.
So it is, the infections are dropping, the hospital rates will drop slightly more slowly, and then hopefully the deaths will drop reasonably sharply.
There should be less in intensive care, shouldn't there? That's the point.
So I think we'll probably start to come out of this mid-March, possibly, with restrictions ever so slowly easing and easing and easing and easing until we get maybe to the summer when they say, well, you know, either there's not a lot of it about or whatever, and we may be back to some sort of normality with a few exceptions, perhaps.
Yeah, they're gonna start coming out or reverting back to the tiers initially. I think, aren't they? They'll start with.
Well, I've heard that they're not actually.
Yeah, I've heard
really?
The whole
Well, not
just
locally. It's nationally, aren't it? So we all you're tiers, but we all do it together, no matter where you are in the country.
Yeah, so we're all tier 4 or all tier 3.
Yeah, which I think was the best way to go. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to return to late, in all honesty, before May time. Easter maybe the earliest.
Yeah.
But are you hanging on for end of March there, Darren?
Well, I've got my first day holiday. Like me and Helen, we got our first holiday booked. It's the last week of May, but it rolls into June. But then I've also got my own kind of weekend booked. The end of Jan, the end of Feb, the end of March, the end of April. And I've obviously, you know, Jan and Feb, they're out the window, but I was kind of holding on for possibly March, you know, but who knows, you know, as long as it opens up for May, because we've actually booked like a week, you know, to kind of go away. I can't remember when it is. The last week in May. So
if they did open it up and it was March, I'd still be staying off the fells though. Yeah. You know, if you could travel and it was legal, it's fine. I'd still stay off the fells.
Yeah, the first place I go to. No, not me. First place I go to fells. I'm safer in the fells than in a built-up area.
I'm not on about. I know. Yes, James, but I'm also thinking about like the burden on
mountain rescue.
Yes. Not saying you would. I would be a burden. I know my abilities and I know I wouldn't go into the fells. Not saying that if I do go in the fells I'm a liability, because I'm not. I use my common sense. But I think if they did say we was free to travel, I'd probably go to somewhere like Silverdale, or I'd go on maybe up to Ribblehead, or investigate some areas that are away from here. To
keeping low and within car distance.
Yes, and enjoy it and smile.
And smile. Well, here's a question around that. Let's say for instance that they say in June, the 1st of June, we're over the pandemic now, and you're safe. Right, let's push it back to July. You're safe to go out and resume your normal lives. Yeah. When would you feel comfortable about, say for instance, getting on a train and going to London and getting on the Underground, or going to Manchester and getting on the trams? When would you feel comfortable about doing that? If they said 1st of July, everything's good, pandemic's over, we've got very little in the community, would you actually go out then and go, right, brilliant, I'm going to get on the train, go to London, do some street photography, for instance?
Depends if I'm vaccinated or not.
Yeah.
If I'm fully vaccinated, possibly.
Yeah.
But other than that, no.
Well, everyone's likely to be vaccinated, aren't they, by then? Probably. Certainly us guys will be.
Do you think it's affected us then generally that we don't want to be around other people?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I know. I said last week, it's causing some form of anxiety amongst the nation, isn't it?
I was never a great mixer anyway with people. You know, I don't really like crowds. You know, I don't like being, you know, I say I don't like being around people. That sounded a bit wrong, but, you know, I don't like when there's loads of people around me. I feel kind of like claustrophobic, and I almost like getting angry. You know, I can't wait to get out of this where I can breathe again. So for me, you know, the lockdown can't come soon enough, but nothing will really change for me because I'll still be out on my own somewhere. I wouldn't. I think it will take me a while. It really will. I think it will take possibly a year. Let's say they said, Gal, like, you know, all right, 1st of July, it's all over. I think it would probably take me a whole calendar year to actually think, right, okay, this is definitely over now, and I will go and see a show in London, or I will, you know. But I
think that's one thing I can't get my head around is the underground in London, because I used to commute down to London for work quite regularly before this all kicked off. And the train itself, I haven't got a problem with that. But the underground, especially at peak times, God, it's crazy.
Sad,
and
sad
I can't.
things.
Yeah, it is absolutely. You're crushed in, literally face to face to people, and I can't comprehend going back to being face to face with somebody on the underground at the moment. That just, it just doesn't ring true. You'd allow yourself, after what we've all been through, to be face to face with somebody again. It just seems a bit surreal. So I'm not sure how that's going to work.
But I would have thought that the majority of people that are commuting in London are under the age of 50 anyway. I mean, obviously there's going to be some between 50 and 65, sure, but I'd imagine the vast majority of people are, kind of between the ages of perhaps, 20 and 50, really. Yeah, that kind of age.
What affected me really, I couldn't believe it actually when I realised how much it had affected me. I haven't back in, say, June, July, I went to the shop, to a supermarket a few times. When it was incredibly low, the amount of coronavirus was sort of like 1 in 4,000. But this 2 weeks ago, I went to the post office, and normally my daughter goes in. She's 18, she's cool. She gets everything, goes in the post office, masks up, sorts it all out, comes out. But this time we had too much stuff, and I had to go and stand in the post office with her, and I felt so uncomfortable. There was 2 or 3 other people in there. There was a woman with a couple of young kids with no masks on, and I was literally like, I just want to get out of here. I can't be in here. And it was, and I just thought I'll be fine. It'll be fine. I've always sort of said once it's all over, we'll go back to normal. I'll go back to normal quite quickly. But that really shook me, actually being there and feeling like that. So answering my own question, I don't know when I'll go back to London. I'm not sure I'll feel comfortable.
Does anybody here have a flu jab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm asthmatic, so I get it. So yeah,
I get it as a carer.
And it's funny because this is the last year, and back in the last year was the only time where I wasn't ill. Previous to that, I've always had symptoms of flu, which they say is common, but this time I was fine.
That's weird.
Then a month later, I caught coronavirus.
No, I had to go I went to the doctors today, and then as soon as I got home, they rang me up and said, we was going to ask you when you was here, but so sorry, we'll ask you now. Do you want your flu jab because you're eligible? And I said, I've never had one before ever. And they said, well, now you're over 25, you get one. So Helen,
only just though, right?
Helen has one like every year because of the school and stuff, and I thought, I don't know if I want one or not, but I suppose I should get one really.
I had a letter come before Christmas asking me to go, but because of the situation, I put it off, to be honest. I didn't really fancy going into a GP and having an injection purely because of the situation. It's as simple as that. So, and I'm not going anywhere, so I'm not going to catch flu from somebody else. But I will have it done once it all calms down. I'll have it done, definitely.
Yeah.
We get it through work. It's free through work. So.
That's good.
Yeah.
You said something about being in the underground and face to face with people, and I started smiling because can you imagine what that'll feel like? So imagine, right? It's all done. It's gone. It's actually gone from the country. There's like no infections. I can almost feel that energy, that relief, that happiness, that being in the London Underground and face to face with people and just feeling massive relief, and everyone surely will be smiling. It feels like we've got a big smile coming. There's something glorious is going to happen here when they turn around and start saying there are no more infections in Great Britain.
I keep thinking about
wonderful
driving up the M1 in my car at stupid o'clock in the morning with the music blaring, going to the Peak District or going to Snowdonia or going to a Lake District or something, just like knowing that I'm just going and I'm going to stay out overnight, and oh my god, I just can't wait. I literally
I keep visualising that moment. The morning I wake up, 3 o'clock in the morning, on my way up to Lake District. It nearly brings a tear to my eyes. It really does.
I can't. I know I said the other week on the pubcast, but I just can't wait to stop wearing the masks. Just like go, my phone, me keys and all this, and and there you got to add the mask to that list, and every time you go into a shop, that kind of goes on. I just want to, can't wait to get rid of them. I just want to feel a lot.
I forgot
freer.
mine. I went to Chip the other day, and I forgot to wear it. Excuse me, love, your mask.
Yeah,
she gave me one.
That's like one of them bad dreams, like, you're you're in the train station, I haven't got any trousers on, I don't care, I've forgotten my mask.
Yeah. She get them delivered, James.
£7.20
What, for delivery?
for fish and chips and a curry sauce. Now that's a lot up our end, Mally.
That's
Bit
not
of Yorkshire
bad.
speak.
That's not bad.
That's about the same around here.
It's £4 for a fish now, for a cod. It's £4 for a cod.
Oh, that's
Pound for
£5.20.
your
I think
curry.
we are £5.20, and chips is about £6-7. Yeah, fish and chips. Yeah.
All right, it's been a while for me.
I know what you're saying, James, but do you know, things have gone up so much, haven't they? Can of pop, it's a quid. Can of pop, a quid.
Do you remember that there was that telly series, Grumpy Old Men?
Yes.
I mean, we're kind of going that way a little
We
bit,
are.
aren't we? Let's be fair.
Yeah.
We're going that way. We're already going.
Yeah, I was just going to say, speak for yourself.
No, but I mean, sometimes the conversations we have, you'd think it was like grumpy old togs.
Yeah. Well, that's because we are.
pretty much.
Grumpy old Tom got.
Yeah, I've got something to show you. I just popped out. Helen's up on the table, and she's making.
Helen's up on the table. What the hell? We've got to show us.
And she's making
pole
all.
dancing
She's
now.
making these.
Oh, lovely.
It looks a bit kind of like my highlights are a bit blown out, but she's making all these kind of tea light things for the
Very
pergola.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, it's really
Is
nice.
that for the
isn't it?
pergola?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, lovely.
She loves all this kind of art and craft stuff.
It's really nice.
Oh, is it lit?
It was, yeah.
candle.
It was a candle.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh, wow.
There's a little tea light.
What do you
in
think
there,
it was?
so
A great big fat glowworm?
Yeah.
No, it's pretty cool.
Peter Pan.
I'm actually demolishing part of my garden this weekend. Weather
Oh, yeah. What are you
permitting.
doing?
Not the pig
Well,
shed.
we've got a big deck that we kind of don't use since we built the sunroom on the front of the house. So, because in the winter it's just covered in slime and you just skid across it. Yeah. So Jan said, can you chop it up because it's in my way? So, yeah, okay. So I'm going to chop a strip off it about 5 or 6 planks wide. It's 10 foot length. I'm going to carry it down to the lake and build a jetty out of it.
Good idea.
Excellent.
And then take a photo of it and the sunset in the background.
Yeah, absolutely.
Foregrounding.
I got it.
Leading line.
This is it.
Don't forget just to make it a bit rickety.
I'm
to give it
not
a bit of,
actually kidding. I am genuinely going to make a jetty out of it, and it will almost certainly. I might video it. I might use it, adjust it so it points west at the spring equinox or something
And
like
hook
that.
your boat up to the front of it as well.
Oh yeah, well I'm going to moor. I've got 2 boats now, so I'm going to moor them on it. That's the point of it.
Nice.
There we go.
Don't forget to tell Jan where you've cut it from, though, because otherwise she's going to walk out in the patio and you go flying in a hole.
Well, she wanted it gone, so that's her problem.
And who was it who shared that video about the guy building the old hut with
Me.
what? That was brilliant.
Absolutely.
That was so
Fantastic, wasn't it?
good, and he's got loads more as well. Did any of the rest of you watch that?
No.
What was
no.
it?
I never watch anything James shares.
He dug,
Bushwhacker.
he dug a hole, and then he basically built a house over the top of the hole using branches and mud and.
I started,
I've seen those.
yes.
Brilliant.
I started
Sorry,
watching
yes.
it, and I got about 5 minutes in, and then I don't know, I had to turn off. And I
One
forgot
of
to
the
go
ones
back
he
to it.
did, he built himself a little swimming pool, didn't
Swimming
he?
pool.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
He's so good. I really enjoyed watching that. But one thing I did think was, I wonder if he's in a private wood, because he's knocking the trees down for a start. Which let's not go back there. He's knocking the trees down, but also
Rainforest.
but also imagine like someone just wandering across it. You know, what the is that? What's going on there? But it is a brilliant video. I got to say, we'll
2 million views. That's
Yeah.
Like an oasis in the middle of this rainforest.
Yeah. Although I got to say, eating a raw onion, I'm not sure about that.
oh yeah, no,
I love raw onion.
Oh no,
I can't even cut raw
I
onions
could
up.
eat a raw onion like it's an apple.
could you?
really?
Right. Next week, I'll get a fresh raw onion and I'll eat it while we're on pub.
Okay, that sounds like a good plan.
Yeah, don't forget to tune in for that, folks.
Yeah. Watch them flocking to next week.
They'll love it.
Please subscribe
Every
here.
crunch.
I'm going to put it in the titles.
I'm going to steal that and put it on my vlog.
Manny eats a raw onion is going to be literally the title of the
clickbait.
podcast.
Better
My
than a live
teeth are
chicken.
really raw garlic as well. Garlic
What
cloves.
couldn't you eat?
You.
You could.
I probably could, yeah, with a bit of
2 or 3
Worcester
seconds.
sauce.
A car?
I couldn't.
Remember the
couldn't
French
eat-
guy? There was a French guy who ate part of the Eiffel Tower. Do you remember him?
Monsieur Mange too.
There's a guy on something or other, Noel Edmonds, like back in the day when he ate a light bulb.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
And everything, all the metal, the filament,
Yeah.
the whole lot, the glass.
Oh,
Total weird.
He died, didn't he, not long after that?
Yeah.
I can't eat mollusks.
Can you not?
Allergic.
Really?
What are they? Shells.
Well,
Shellfish.
Mussels,
Mussels.
octopus, calamaris. I love them, but I can't eat them. It's really annoying because every so often I think, I'm going to try it. It's obviously just psychological, and I'll try it. And most recently, I think was, it must have been about a year ago. Yeah, it was around about Christmas 2019. I was out with a family, and I thought, I'm going to have some squid. I'm all right. I'll be fine. No way. Emergency pullover on the way home. What a mess.
What is it? Because you have prawns and that, don't you? And shrimps.
Yeah, but
You
they're
said
crustaceans. They're crustaceans.
But what's in mollusks that?
I've no idea, but any mollusk, octopus is mollusk, snails, mussels, winkles, cockles.
Dave, I've got to say, when you were doing
Live-o.
when you were doing that at the time and you realised the trouble that you were going to cause on the way home, did you not think it was incredibly shellfish?
Hey!
There they are.
Oh,
there
you
they
what?
are.
I could hear
Tell
that
you what,
coming.
This week is essential viewing.
Oh yeah.
Can I just ask a question?
Yeah.
Have we talked about photography tonight at all? Have I missed it?
We talked a bit about stealing other people's content.
Mally's
How do
new
we
camera.
feel about shooting wide open?
What, like that?
Shooting what?
Anything. Shooting wide open.
The only time
Love
I ever
it.
shoot wide open is if I was doing Astro. That'd be it. That'd be
I
the
hear
only
it a
time.
lot lately with portrait photography and stuff, and shooting it, getting the blur out the back. The tonne, get the tonne.
Okay, yeah.
Well, your bird photography would be wide open, Darren.
No. My lens when it's fully extended to 600mm is f6.3,
Yeah.
and I always shoot, but 9 times out of 10 I shoot on 7.1 because I find that is sharper on my lens than 6.3.
Okay.
So very.
Hey, time to get up.
I didn't get up for work.
Shit. It's time for me jab.
Oh, I'm alright this evening.
James
So, yeah.
dreams of shooting wide open on his 600, don't you? Dreams of it, but
Well,
you're so
F11 is-
restricted to F11.
F11 is wide open, isn't it?
It is wide open. Still get some nice bokeh. But no, honestly, I've been shooting wide open anyway for my landscape shots the last few vlogs.
I've shot wide open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depth of field, foreground, blurring out the tree in the background.
Something
and your last
different.
vlog.
Exactly.
I find that very interesting. I think there's a lot of... I just mentioned it because you said we haven't told about photography. I just meant about shooting wide on because I'm starting to go back to handheld more, and I'm starting to enjoy being more freely walking, like walking around. And I think the other night you mentioned Astro, and I went, because something happened accidental. I went to Crank Hill to photograph the tree, and I can only go to f4 on that lens, and all the stars streaked up. I was like, I forgot. It's dark, isn't it? I was doing long exposures. I was thinking about wide open. I started thinking we don't shoot. Landscape photographers, I find, don't shoot enough wide open. James does. David does. We all have a go. We all do it. But
good creativity is that?
Yeah.
Mm.
But that shot the other day you put up with that James, with that foreground sharp.
The grass with the tree out of focus. Yeah,
that was sublime. That shot, loved it.
I thought it worked well. No.
Yeah.
I posted one tonight, actually, a similar sort of thing on Twitter. I think it's just good handheld as you. As you know, I'm shooting more handheld now anyway because they are 6. But it's be a different look of things, isn't it? Rather than getting everything sharp.
I must admit,
I've got a 35mm prime that opens up to 1.8, and I've been mucking about with that a little bit. I haven't videoed any of it, but what I really like about it is that it's because it's a 35mm. It's not a stupid depth of field, because that really wide angle one I've got that is f2, but because it's only 7.5mm, it's next to impossible to have a shallow depth of field. I mean, the focusing ring's kind of irrelevant because everything's always in focus. But with this, actually, it's not 35mm. It's a 17mm. It's sort of 34, 35 equivalent. But that's just perfect for that sort of thing. Shooting wide open at f1.8. I've enjoyed that around the front yard. Sorry, go on, Jamie. You were saying?
No, well, it was a couple of things. I was going to mention, James, I remember your vlog last year or year before when you were shooting that white, what was it called? Those little white flowers on the fells.
The cotton grass.
Cotton grass.
Yeah.
When you were shooting the cotton grass and wide
open.
Of
the mountains out of focus.
Absolutely, they were so effective, wide open. But I was going to say I've got that because I've only got 2 lenses, as you guys know now, and one of them is that f2.8 24-70, and I've really not shot that hardly at all wide. And the only shot I think I've taken was that mushroom shot that I took early on when I first had it. But I do need to explore it. You're right, Mally. You do need to explore that creativity. That certainly with f2.8 on that lens, which is as sharp as hell. I really
especially at 70mm. I mean, that'll give you some really creative looks.
Yeah, I do need to do more of that. Yeah, you're right.
The compression when you're wide open, shooting woodland as well. I've ruined a lot of shots. You all know this. I'm talking to the already knowledgeable. But anyone out there shooting wide open woodland, it's really difficult. But when you get it, it's almost like,
is that selecting your area which you want to be in focus? Because I've played around with some trees, for example, focus in the foreground, the nearest, but then I play around with the furthest tree or furthest away tree, track focus on that.
Yes.
Just playing around with that.
And don't you get a buzz off that when you're that depth? And even if it's 6 feet or 12 feet in front of you, and it might be just a few leaves. So what I discovered was I was at f4 and I was shooting through the very, we've got all these beech leaves that are still golden, hanging dead.
Yeah.
So when with your eyes, you look obviously focusing everything out of focus, in focus, and to manually focus on 6 feet in front of me, there was all these veins of the beech with these little golden leaves hanging. And even at f4, it blew out the background. But what it was creating, what I was realising, it's something I'm trying to learn, is the blur in the background can be distracting. It could be a heavy tree, a heavy log. It could be a light patch. It could be a dark patch. What you want in the background where it's all out of focus is something...
Ooh. Whoa.
Poltergeist.
What was that?
You kicked your cock again.
Thank you. It was my cock. Sorry. Supplies.
All right. Milkman.
It's seeing that background where it's not intrusive, and then the veins of those little branches with the golden droplets. Just something I've found that is probably, we all know it, but it is interesting to to inspect,
Experiment.
learn. Yes.
I think you posted excellent image lately, Mally, where you've thrown the foreground out of focus and you can just see the little starry like diamonds that lead onto the trees in the background. Yeah,
do you know that I always hear people pixel pinching and looking in images, and when I did that image I had this in mind because at the time when I seen it, there's one, it's a twig and it's got one leaf on it, but what was happening was all this sparkly stuff like you're saying in the foreground was leading into this point.
Yeah.
And I thought, if someone pixel peeps into that, there's this one leaf hanging there, and I was like, that's the shot. You'd never see it. If you looked at that image you got, you wouldn't see it. But it's got to be print. I'm gonna have to print that.
It's not an Instagram image then, is it?
Obviously. No.
More Flickr.
Yeah, I've had a resurgence in that. We've all spoke about.
Yeah.
Well, are we all gonna have a crack?
I've tried it.
Darren's having he's stalking his logs. Flickr, I'm gonna buy it. 55 quid for the year.
What do you get for
I'll
that?
pay for it anyway.
Do you already pay for it, Gary?
Yeah, I'll buy it. I've got it. £6 something a month it is for me.
So
what do you
what's
get?
your return?
Yeah.
Unlimited. It's unlimited, basically.
Yeah.
It's basically storage.
It's like cloud
okay.
storage. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
See,
unlimited.
I have Amazon and you can store raw files on their photo.
The thing with Flickr is I like Flickr. I use Flickr for, showing my photos, and I don't mind paying for the storage. And you get full res images. You can there's no compression on Flickr. You can look right in. You can go. If you click on my images, it goes in and in again because they're huge images. And the Pro, I think, gives you analytics and bits and pieces and stuff like that. But I just find it great. I mean, I know we've already talked about it, but I find it great.
Yeah, it's a resurgence for me because I've deleted a lot of images. So I've decided I'd try and curate the image. I had 800 images on there, but it's worth considering when it's a lot of effort, social media, and I find that with Flickr, and I always have done, and it's strange why we've gone away from it. The like-minded people on there, they like photography.
Yeah. Someone said to me on a comment on the vlog I did about the comments that were made on Twitter and how everyone jumps in. They said, I think it was Robin Grant said, they never, you never get that on Flickr ever. It's only ever complimentary comments on Flickr. There's never a negative comment. Yeah, there's never a negative comment.
Or good critique.
Yeah.
I've had some very good critique. I've had some very honest.
I was going to say, it's all right having positive comments, but is there any constructive criticism?
No,
yes.
Yeah, but it's
very much so, James.
Yeah. When I'm talking about negative, I mean there are no outright negative. Yeah. What you doing out there, doing that for type comments. So it's always positive. Going back though quickly to your out of focus stuff, because I don't know if you noticed, but
you were out of focus.
Yeah, I was out of focus for a second. I don't know if you mentioned this, but we have it drummed into us as landscape photographers that everything's got to be sharp, front to back sharpness. Everything's got to be sharp, and it's like and
it
focus
leaves nothing to the
stacking.
imagination.
No, it doesn't. And
then F11, even focus stacking, never really appealed to me.
I think the thing is, there's a place for it, and front to back sharpness is important in some big wide open vistas and views like that and stuff. But there's definitely a place for shooting wide open. The shot, I'm sure it was mentioned, but the shot you did of the tree with the tree in the background, so the one that you did on your latest vlog, just beautiful, just a beautiful shot. Sometimes just leaving that, not going too far, so not like shooting at f1.4 and just completely killing the background, but just leaving that little bit,
a subtle hint, what's there in the background.
Just that little bit that you just look and go, you can see what that is, but clearly the point of focus is here, but it still adds context to the shot. I think it's brilliant. I do it all the time for street, definitely, and like you're saying about the veins in the leaves, you get a nice backlit leaves and blow the rest of it completely out of focus. Can look gorgeous.
That's why we all need a prime lens in our bags. It's as simple as that. For that reason, it's not all about.
All right, so if you could only have one prime as a landscape
good
photographer,
question.
what would it be?
20 mil.
20. Why? Why 20?
It's wide enough to get a vista, and it's not too wide that I can't step forward. I think 35's too much. I think 28's too much. I think 24's okay, but it's not wide enough for me. If I only had one lens, I'd have to go for something a little bit wider and adjust myself to the scene, so I'd pick 20.
Yeah, are we talking one lens or one prime lens to complement?
Well, if someone just gave you X amount of pounds and said, right, go and buy one prime lens to put on your bag.
In addition to
whatever you've got now.
85
just landscape photography, though. Landscape photography.
Yeah, for landscape. Yeah,
I thought that's what you said. 20 mil.
20 mil. You go for 85, James.
Yeah.
Why for 85? What's the attraction?
It's the mid telephoto. I find that it's basically what I see as well. It's the same sort of scale as what I see using an 85mm.
Right. What with your eyes, you mean? Naturally?
Yeah, naturally. I think it's often said at 50mm, but for me, it's I don't know. It's 85mm for me.
Right.
I think to complement the lenses I have, so bearing in mind that I've already got a 24mm 24 to 105 that I could use, I think I'd probably have a 35mm, a nice fast 35mm, because I don't think wide vistas at 24mm. I don't think I'd need that fast shutter speed, but it's for me. I don't know. For me, I like the details. I'd like shooting intimate shots, the details at those wide open apertures. So probably 35mm, 50mm, something like that, I think.
Yeah, I'm with Gary. My prime is 35 equivalent.
Yeah.
The 1.8, and I use it quite a bit. It's usually in my bag because it's very light. So
Jane?
if someone gave me some money, I'd just buy that again.
Well, no, I guess because if you're talking about existing lenses that you've got as well, because I've got that 24 to 70 f2.8, so I've got quite wide open at that range. So I'd probably veer more towards what Mally's saying and go more the wide end. So maybe the 20mm at a 1.8 or 2.8. That would help. But to be honest, I wouldn't. I'd probably spend it on a fancy tripod or something instead.
Wide open changes it though, doesn't it? Yeah. What about you, Darren?
Well, it's funny. The other day, I am thinking. Obviously, we talked about when the world opens up, and we've got all these little things that we want to do. But when I was back in 2018, 2019, I spent a lot of time with Dave. Doing all the hiking and the wild camping, and I'd love to kind of resurrect that either later on this year or the start of the following year, especially back in Snowdonia, hopefully with Dave if he'll have me back after all this time. But when I was thinking about and dreaming about kind of doing the wild camping again, I did actually look quickly on Wex, and I looked at an 18mm prime Zeiss, because I used to have a 21mm, and that was a beautiful lens. Yeah. So I suppose because I'm naturally drawn to that lens, because I've used one similar 21-18 in the past, I think for me it would be wide. It would be an 18mm Zeiss.
First time I met you, Darren, and you pulled that lens out, and I was like, oh my, that's a nice lens.
It was an incredible lens, that beautiful lens.
Yeah.
Spot of glass envy, was it?
Yeah, top of I was shitting my pants on top of Surprise View, and all I could do was look at his lens.
So we were going to talk about filters, weren't we? I know we've briefly touched on the ones Mally's got for sale. You could probably pop that little advert in again, Mally, if you want to now. But we were going to talk about filters because we were having a chat. It wasn't really a podcast topic. We weren't going, let's talk about this. But it actually turned into a bit of a topic, didn't it, on the chat about do we use filters anymore? I think more grads and actually some of you were saying you don't use a polarizer anymore as well. So let's have a hands up who still uses a polarizer.
I've got one.
Yeah. Mine's on my landscape. Mine's on all the time. All the time.
I've not used it this year.
No.
For anything.
No, but if it was a normal year,
We haven't been out.
you would be.
No, but even, I mean, I know the college is a little bit more kind of architecture, really.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But even when I have shot, mind you, that when I shoot the landscape round here, it's normally unique conditions, you know, like it's misty and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've not used it at all this year.
You know, jumping off subject really quickly, do you use pixel shift, Darren,
No.
for your architecture?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
No, because I say it's architecture. I mean, obviously there's still trees in the image as well, and I wouldn't. And you need special software as well, don't you, to stitch it all together or combine
I
it?
have no idea. I've never used it.
Yeah, I think you have to go onto Sony, and it's their software that you then combine the image and then bring it back, and it's a lot of bollocks to me. So no.
So
For
sorry.
your barrel
Anyway,
distortions and things like that. You know?
no, it takes
To get your straight lines.
it takes 4 images, 1 pixel shifted up, down, across, and so you get 4 times resolution shot in one.
You see, my camera does that, but it takes 8 and it stitches them in camera and just gives you a raw file.
Doesn't do that.
No.
Doesn't do that on the Sony. You have to then do it in Sony software.
I'm surprised at that because Sony are usually at the cutting edge of that sort of electronic jiggery pokery.
Don't talk to me about Sony. Do you know what? I've been doing a really change subject again. Sorry. I've been doing a bird video.
Back to filters shortly.
Manny's trying to sell his filters.
Yeah,
here.
sorry. Hang on. I've been doing a bird video, and I've got a capture card, so I can plug my camera into the capture card, into the computer, and capture live stream basically what I'm doing.
Tethered.
Yeah, tethered essentially. Yeah. So
Not feathered.
no, not tethered. Very good. What I wanted to do was I wanted to show my focus points and where I was shifting the focus point.
Yeah.
And and the focus modes and all these things, which it will do. But the problem is so I plug it in here, take it out to the hide with a big long HDMI lead, and you can choose it with the information off. So you just get the pure view. So excellent. Turn the information on. View screen and the viewfinder and the live view disappear. You can't have them on that and on the screen at the same time. So in the end, I've had to.
They want you to get an Atomos Ninja. Costs about
That's it,
500
an
quid.
Atomos. Yeah, that's what Jared Polin uses, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I worked around it by basically getting my daughter's laptop and plugging that in. But the trouble is I'm sort of sat here, looking at the laptop down here at the screen and trying to focus on the birds by using the map. So it wasn't very easy, but it's a bit of a pain in the arse. So if you're watching Sony, which you're not, sort it out. Anyway, filters.
Sort it out, you slag.
Yeah, sort it out.
So many slags.
Right, filters. Sorry, where were we, Darren?
No, we need to ask James why he doesn't use a polarizer.
Yeah, why don't you use a polarizer, James?
I don't know. It's probably I used to, but I've never really got into it. It's probably the subjects I choose. Really, I don't shoot a lot of water. I shoot a bit of woodland, but I just like the option to include the contrast. I know the polarizers will take it away, the surface glare and things like that, but I just want that. I think when it comes to using filters and the need, you've got to ask yourself one question, and that's, would my photography be better with filters or not? And in my case, I don't think it would be. Because at the end of the day, we spend a lot of money on all these lenses. Why on earth would you want to put something in front of the front element?
I can see where a
Why would you want to
polarizer
do
would
that?
be beneficial to you, though. For instance, with your, when you go long, sort of 70 to 200, and you're shooting at the mountains because you could really kill the sky. You could darken that blue, say you've got.
I can do that in post, though. I could do that in post.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
And the thing is, what really put me off when I used to shoot wide angle if you use a polarizer, you get your dark and left and right.
And it's done then, isn't it? It's done. You can't reverse it when you get
image is
one.
ruined. It's ruined.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, it's just something else to faff about with, something else to put in your bag as well. It's just, I haven't used filters for like 2 years now.
I stopped using grads, to be fair. I used to use, I've only really had a couple of grads, but and around here, obviously I don't do seascapes as much, so I don't really need them for that, but it would only be if I'm in a wide open area and I just want to control the sky. But I hardly do that now, because as you say, you just do it in post. It's just as easy, or bracket, or whatever you want to do. So
camera, Jamie, though, look at what you've got now.
No, absolutely, and that's why I think now I'm not really using the filters as much as I used to, because I don't need to. Really, you've got so much control in that camera in the raw file once you've got it back that you've got everything you need to do. It's really only the polarizer if you do want to do something with glare,
and an ND.
If you've got it and you want to reduce it,
then and an ND. Yeah, I think they're the two that I couldn't do without.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't do a lot of ND work again, but they're the only two that I would have, would be a polarizer and an ND. Yeah,
I use it for videography now and then to get that really wide open aperture, and it's really bright outside, just to bring it down. That's the only reason times I use an ND film.
I'll tell you something, I'll never buy a bloody Nikon polarizer, because look at these glasses, look at the glare in them. It's useless, so don't buy any Nikon polarizing filters.
What's she doing, by the way?
You don't want to know. Just concentrate on the podcast. I'll keep an eye on this on the right hand side. I'll let you know if anything exciting happens.
Giraffe.
It's a reflection of Pornhub.
I'd just like to say, filters, viva la freedom.
Yeah.
I'm back. The comments I've had as well about me photography of late have been very encouraging. Thank you, everyone. Filters for me. I think I got lost down the rabbit hole of you need to do this in camera. And I know there'll be people who are watching and saying, yes, Mally, you do. You need to do it in camera. But the problem is, once you've done it in camera, it's very hard to do anything after that. And I love editing.
Yeah.
I love editing as much as taking the image. So once you've put a piece of glass over it and altered the exposure, you get back that's solidified in your image. And I'm beginning to change the way I shoot, my style, because of...
What's the saying, Mally? Inspiration, imitation, innovation. And you're now at the innovation stage. Well, you get inspired by something and you imitate it, and then eventually you innovate because you've gone past the imitation stage, and that's where you're at. You're now innovation. You're doing your own thing, your own way. And we're all... as landscape, we've all imitated someone at some point. They've inspired us and we've imitated them, and you're now at the next stage where you're going past that and doing your own thing. Well, you are, because you are, though, because you've got rid of the filters, and most of the people go, you're not using a polarizer, you're shooting wide open. This is not normal. What's going on? Because you're innovating.
I'm not normal, no.
I must admit, I still carry a set of filters, and I use them from time to time. It just depends on what I'm trying to achieve when I'm making a photograph. So sometimes I don't need one, and sometimes I do. I think I'm lucky because my kit is small and light, so it's no big deal carrying filters. Plus, they're only 85mm filters, so they're in themselves are not a big deal. But I wouldn't like to be out and about with the possibility of a good image that then I couldn't get because I really needed a filter to allow me to make that image the way I want to make it. So it strikes me as it's not sensible to say, oh, you can't possibly have filters, or yes, you must always have filters. I think it just depends on what you're trying to achieve at the time.
Tools for the job.
Yeah.
I don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I won't have an ND. I do need some decent NDs because I like long exposure photography. But I think the grads I've had my time with them.
Well, we now got more higher dynamic range to play.
Yeah.
We've all got up-to-date cameras now.
Yeah. But tools for the job, what Dave's just said there,
yeah, exactly.
the amount of times as well, actually, go that an ND grad actually ruins the shot. Because who's been out? I've definitely done it. Who's been out to, say, like the lakes or Snowdonia, stuck an ND grad in and found all your mountains are dark.
Yeah.
You know, because you can't only grab that bit out. You know, you're not going to scrape.
Well, you
it
can
all
actually, can't you? Though in post,
Yeah. In
only
post, exactly. In post,
mask.
in post, but
It's
not
a bastard though.
Not with a grad on. You've done it.
But you don't want to do that, do you? As you say, your options are restricted straight away. So.
Excellent.
So there we go. We've ruined the businesses of loads of filter companies there. Don't need them. Sod them.
None of us are going to get case ambassadorship.
No.
I was just gonna say though, if there was one filter I'd be going for, all right, I use a K&F variable now with a polarizer. That's me done. But for my NDs, I'd most definitely be sticking a case magnetic on there because it just 10 stop, big stopper. Mainly big stopper, mainly doing abstract long exposure photography, and the fact that it's just on off. Done. No messing. Little pouch. Me done. Don't need a lot. Just couple of NDs. No filter holder. No. I'm trying to sell these. I'm not doing myself of any favours here, am I?
So there's no light leak for those?
No, not. And I thought there might be vignetting on the wider lenses, but I've been assured there's no vignetting on the 16mm. Having said that, I can't remember the last time I've done a wide-angle shot, which is fucking weird for me. I'm just changing. I'm not the same man I used to be.
You're innovating, as Gary said.
You changed for the better. I think your photography is very good recently.
Very kind. Yeah. Thank you, James.
Yeah, I totally second that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it's been fucking awful.
Oh, what's next subject? Oh, yeah. He's putting some shite out.
No,
what's all this
it's
abstract stuff with leaves? What's he doing? Why is he taking images of bushes 400 yards away?
It's actually really nice to see that though, Manny, because it's not the same old contrived sort of, you know, a lot of people who do vlogs it's very contrived, the same thing going on, all the same shots, and it's like it's like a factory. Yeah, it's like Stock Aitken and Waterman for photography. Do you know what I mean? Every video and every output is the same. They're going to give you up. Yeah.
Kylie Minogue.
I like to think of
lucky.
I like to think of myself as the what were they called? The Reynolds
Banana-rama of Bedford.
No, I'm the Reynolds girls of the photography scene. I'd rather
Reynolds
Jack
girl.
than Fleetwood Mac.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rock Bottom. Or Pat and Mick, perhaps. You know, the real scrape in the barrel of the Stock Aitken and Waterman version of photography.
Give over.
Oh, dear.
Going forward, I won't roll out a bit of long exposure black and white photography in the future. I can't have ruled that out. So I've got a K&F variable ND, goes down to 10 stop, as I said before, for my video stuff. So I'll still have that in the bag. No, it's not totally ruled out.
You've developed a bit more of a love for woodland recently, James, haven't you? I can tell.
The choice, really.
Yeah. No, but I can tell you, it's grabbed a bit of your heart, hasn't it? A bit of woodland.
Oh, yeah. I discovered a new place last weekend. I was out.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yes. Wow. Potential.
Is that in the next vlog?
Yes, it is. Upcoming vlog. Hopefully live this Sunday morning.
10 a.m.
We will tune in.
I might make another vlog at some point, and it could well be woodland.
You've got no choice now, mate. You've got no choice. You've got to.
Yeah.
You locked yourself in. That 6-figure deal.
Yeah.
Was it on transfer deadline day?
Yeah, exactly. That was it. The signing on fee was rubbish, though.
Yeah, they had someone outside your house degriff the rooms. Degriff signing for Skillshare. Been a 6-figure deal. Brilliant.
Well, that's that then.
Yeah. Well, we don't.
Right.
Have you noticed we don't have a big climax? We always just peter out. We don't have a finale. It's not like Morecambe and Wise' big production number.
I think we need to see Darren's pants again because his logs have gone out. We can't be having that.
No, mate.
Yeah, but he'll be in bed as soon as he finishes.
I'm roasting in here now. I really am. Yeah. It's freezing out there. We've got no heating on. So I'm lovely and toasty in here.
Somebody said that Thomas has got the same chair as you. Thomas Heaton's got the same chair as you. Did you realise that?
Yeah. But he didn't get ease in the pub, and I bet he's not sat in his chair for 10 years.
Yeah.
This chair has sunk a lot of pints, I reckon, over the last 10, 15 years.
Can you smell the backy in it? Can you from there?
Yeah.
He's just copying everyone. He's copying all of us anyway. He's copying you with the podcast, Mally. He's copying you with the chair, Darren. He's not good. Not good. Sort yourself out, Tom. Get some ideas of your own, mate. Come on. Okay, damn well.
Is it Lawrence Fishburne?
Oh yeah, the Matrix when he's sitting in that. Yeah,
he's defo sat. He's done a big crumpy one in that chair, Darren. Wife won't let me have one. I've spoke about it.
So comfortable. Honestly,
Saint-Anne is it?
So
Saint-Anne leather.
I don't know what it is.
But
Actually,
they cost an absolute bomb.
Well, when I said to the landlord, bless him, he died about 18 months ago now. But even before, and I said, Steve, if you ever want to get rid of that chair, mate, I said I'll buy it off you. And then just out of the blue one day, they said, like, do you still want that chair? I said, yeah. How much do you want for it? They went, oh, you can have it. I went, oh mate. I said, no. I said, I can't have it, Steve. That's ridiculous. He went, all right, give us 20 quid. I went, I can't, mate. So I ended up giving him, I gave him £100 for it. I said, he said, no. I said, mate, I could not hand you over 20 quid for this chair. You know, I absolutely love it. So, yeah.
Darren, you're the worst businessman ever.
I know, but I
just point that out.
I know, but it's not
awful.
£100 loss.
Even £100 is a bargain.
That's like literally, if he'd have said to James, you can have it, James had said, no, give me some money to take it off your hands.
You pay delivery, not carry it myself.
Oh, will you drop it off for me as well?
Can you clean
I live in
it,
Yorkshire.
Refurbish it, then you can deliver it to my house.
Well, on that, I think we'll call it a day. Hope you've enjoyed this week. I think we have. It's been a brilliant week, isn't it?
Good.
Yeah, really good. So good. Thanks ever so much for watching, and we will see you all for number 41. Goodbye.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
See you there.